Bish bash bosh, clap clap clap. It's a good time, yeah yeah yeah. Adorable. And welcome back to Drum Electric. As always, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, and if you're a returning subscriber, then it's always great to see your stunningly beautiful face. Now here we are. We are in part 3 of our 3-part streaming adventure challenge bonanza. I don't know, I'm just making up words at this point. If you're new to this whole thing and you haven't checked out part 1 and 2, I highly recommend going checking them out there. Part 1 can be found up here. It's all about how we stream with just a small Zoom recorder and our webcam. Part 2, which again can be found up here, is all about then upgrading to where we're running audio through Logic, we're using drum mics, and we're actually using a DSLR as our webcam. It's rather tasty. Now we're here on part 3, where we are now using slightly nicer audio, we're using multiple cameras, and it's a great time for everybody involved. So make sure you check back on parts 1 and 2 if you need to. There's a lot of information that I talk about in those videos that I will be using in this video. You can also think of this video as an upgrade from part 2. So part 2 setup and equipment is pretty much the same, we're just adding a few more components and we're adding a piece of software, but apart from that it's pretty much exactly the same. So if you're already using part 2 setup, then this is going to be nice and easy for you. So let's hop straight into it. Let's stop dilly-dallying and find out what we need to do to make this a beautiful, beautiful thing. So first off is the equipment list. The equipment list, like I said, is the same as part 2, we just added a few components. So this is what I'm using at the moment for the setup. By no means is this right. It can be adjusted accordingly to the equipment that you have or want to invest in, but like I said, this is just what I'm using for this setup. By no means saying this is the right way, it's just the way that I'm using, and it's nice to share with the gang. So the equipment list. The equipment that I'm personally using is the Canon 80D, the Canon EFS 10 to 18mm 4.5, the GoPro Hero 4 Silver, 2 of the Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini recorders, loopback, Logic Pro 10 or X depending on how you want to see it, Wirecast, various drum mics, and an audio interface, which is the Focusrite 18i20. Now again, like I said, this is all just what I'm using. You can adjust it and change it accordingly to what works best for you and your setup. So let's hop straight in. Let's hop behind our desk and set up our software to get this all working. So in the last few videos, there was a couple of software requirements that we needed to set up before to get this working. Logic is one of them, or like I said in the video, a DAW of your choice. Now for this one, we're honking it up a bit. That is absolutely a technical term. So we're going to add some more software to make our drums sound slightly better. Now by no means am I a professional drum mixer. This is again all just stuff that I had and that I'm just kind of messing with and just trying to find a nice sound from. So with this, I'm, like last video, putting all my drums through Logic. This is then going to go into loopback and then into Zoom. Same thing. Just like I said, now I'm running it through Waves. So in this case, I've got a project set up that is just a template, so it means that every time I go to stream something, record something, I can just hit this template, open it, and all my settings are there. So in this case, I've got a track for when I play along to a track, so if I'm streaming, you can hear it, and if I'm recording, I can just lob it in there. I've got my SPD when I want to use it. I've then got overhead left, overhead right, snare, and kick just for this project. My SPD is panned, and I don't know why. Ugh. So in this case, I've just got the 4 mics set up. If you have more than this, by all means set those up, but obviously you can just adjust this accordingly. If you're much better at this than me, which you probably are, then go bananas. Your output sound from your DAW is what it's going to sound like in Zoom. So the better output from Logic or your chosen DAW, the better it's going to sound. In my case, I'm not running anything particularly fancy. It's just stuff to make it slightly nicer than the original audio and to bring up the whole thing. So for me, on the kick, I'm just running the VEQ4. It's a personal favorite of mine. I'm then just running the kick preset because it sounds fantastic and adjusting accordingly to my kick drum. From here, I'm then just using the standard compressor that comes with Logic because I really like the sound of it. This is again just using the preset, the Type R kick drum, and then just messing with it to apply to my kick. I'm a big fan of the presets. They sound great as long as you're applying it and adjusting it accordingly. It's a really good place to start. That's my kick drum. It just gives it a bit more oomph and a bit louder, and it makes it sound nice. With the snare, same thing, just a snare drum preset on the VEQ4, with waves, and then again the compressor, but this time I'm using the VCA snare preset and adjusting it accordingly because again I really like the sound of it. Then on the overheads, I don't always put EQ because I don't have tom mics on the kit, so therefore the toms are going to come through the overheads. In this case, I'm running exactly the same for both pairs. I'm just running the overheads preset and then adjusting it accordingly. Now there's a lot of low end taken out of this one, but again, it just depends on what I'm going for, what I want it to sound like, and if I have tom mic set up. That's pretty much it on the audio front. I'm just doing it to make it sound slightly nicer. Again, just mess around. If you've got pre-mixed drums, then by all means use that template and see what it sounds like live. From here, that's connected by loopback like I showed in the last video, and then that's all going through Zoom, and it makes it sound lovely, buttery and good. So that is the audio side of things done. Now we're going to head into the realm of video. So I'm using a program called Wirecast to run all of my footage and all of my cameras. It's something, again, I invested in before all of this, so I just had it around, but I believe there are free versions such as OBS to do this same thing, and I know there are other versions as well. I'm just using Wirecast because, again, that's what I had, that's what I invested in at the time. So I'm no wizard at this program by any means. I'm just kind of still getting the grips to it. I've never fully gone into this program to mess with it. It's a really powerful program, especially when it comes to live broadcasting across multiple platforms, but I do know enough to get through this, so I'll at least show you my setup on this and then we'll go from there. Now I will point out as well that this camera angle here you're seeing is the DSLR setup for when I am playing the kit, so this is the same view that I'll have going through Wirecast. Now because of that, it's not plugged into the capture card, so it will be a blank screen, but we'll get through that together. Now my setup's a pretty easy setup. I've got the iPad for a screen share just next to me on my music stand. I've got this view as my main view, and then I've got a GoPro down here as my foot cam. Now all three of those I want to lob into Wirecast, so we'll head in there and this is how we'll do it. So this is Wirecast. If you've never seen it before, I highly recommend it. As a program, it's something that I've used for a while. I do have OBS as well, but I've just preferred Wirecast out of the two. You use whatever you wish and whatever is comfortable. So this is the main view. It's completely blank. It's got nothing in it. We're going to essentially build our three shots. Now the shots that I want is just this main view, which is nice and easy. Then I want a little picture-in-picture of my foot cam in like this top corner here. And then I want the main view, just me, with the iPad screen share as what's taking up most of the frame. So we'll head into Wirecast. Now to set up all of this is super easy. So over here you'll see there's a giant add button. Okay, we're just going to click that. You'll get all of your different options and what you can actually put in it. So in my case I'm going to go for the Ultra Studio Mini Recorder. Now with all of this stuff they're both the same, so I'm kind of just guessing which one's which. Perfect. Okay, so you can see this blank screen here, but that is my main view. Like I said earlier, this camera isn't plugged into the capture card as of yet, so at the moment it's blank, but that's what we've got. So that's my main view setup. It's super easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to rename it to my main view. Lovely. So that's now main view. Okay, now to set up the next shot, I'm going to hit that giant add button again. Then I'm just going to scroll down to the shots button and then new shot. So this is a blank shot. I'm going to name it main view foot, because it's got the main view and I want my foot cam on it. Now with this, I'm going to hit the little add button underneath. I'm going to go back up to video capture because I'm video capturing. The mini recorder, I'm going to add one of them. That's going to be my main view, and add that second mini recorder and you're going to get a lovely view of my foot. There it is, there's my foot, lovely live and in action. You can also see the little bar, so it's picking up my Mac microphone as I'm speaking. So, with this you can see a little outline, or you can go into this bar here and turn the scale down. I just prefer to drag, as just that's what I'm comfortable with. I'm going to put it up here in the top right corner, but I'll mess around accordingly when I've got this camera plugged in, and you guys will see it in a minute when I start recording this from Zoom. So that's that set up. As you can see, I've got my main view, the outline of the black image, which is always really helpful, of this main camera, and then at the top I've got my foot cam. As you can see, my lovely feet jiggling in the corner there. So there we go. I've got my main view and I've got the foot cam. I can just click between them. Now the third one, like I said, is the iPad shot. So I'm just going to hit that big plus button again, head down to shots, new shot, add, exactly the same. I'm going to name this one iPad because it's my iPad. Then I'm just going to hit the plus button, and now I'm going to go to video capture and my iPad Pro, which is what I'm using. To get this, I'm literally just plugging in the lightning, because this is, I think, the first or second generation one with the home button, just plugging in the lightning cable and then going USB into my Mac. Nice and easy. So I'm going to hit add. There's my iPad. It's just at the moment manuscript paper. It's nothing fancy. I'm going to move that to the left because that's where I want it. Then I'm going to hit add again and choose, this time I'm going to choose my foot cam, but obviously I will have my main view. It's just so you can see them both working together. So this is my foot, drag it smaller so the scale is smaller. Now with this one, as you can see, the layers overlay each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to this tab here. Then I'm just going to crop in the left side. All right, so then it's just, when I have it on the main view, you'll just see me here, and then you'll see the rest of the screen capture. So for now, you just get my wobbling foot with my lovely orange shoes and the screen capture. But that is it. Now, the final thing we need to do to implement this into Zoom, head over to Output at the top of our screen, and then we're going to go virtual camera out. Now I've got it on match canvas because that means it'll just match whatever's going on. The other one that I use is just the HD 1080p because you can stream on Zoom in HD, which is what I normally do, but again, that just depends on your Wi-Fi. To finish up, then we just go virtual camera out and start. Now that means that anything in our live feed is now being sent out to our lovely virtual camera. So we're going to open up Zoom and head into those preferences. Then we're just going to go to video. We're just going to select the Wirecast virtual camera, okay? As you can see on my list, I've got all the Blackmagic Ultra Studio Mini recorder settings, which is a lot, so having just one virtual camera is great. We've selected that, and that's what we'll see. So I'll just make sure it's working by going into my iPad view, sending that live, then just going back into Zoom, video settings, and there we go. That's our live feed straight from Wirecast. So now anything you do in Wirecast to control the cameras will go straight into Zoom, and that's what anyone viewing it will see. So that's pretty much it. That's our audio and visual front for Zoom, and this is now what I'm using as my full setup when it comes to this sort of thing. The last thing I should mention is obviously all of the cameras are being controlled by Wirecast on my laptop. So what I normally do is if I'm not using my iPad, I'll lob that up just underneath this camera here so I can see all of the Zoom call, I can share my Mac screen to it and just see the entire call. Then I just have Wirecast open on my Mac and I set up some shortcuts for each of those shots, so then I can just quickly hit the button to go in between them, and it's a really quick, seamless thing to do. Have fun with this, experiment with it, and make it your own. It is really interesting and really rewarding to do. So with this, you've now seen how I've set this all up. Let's head into Zoom where I'll record my screen and you can see exactly what's going on, exactly what it sounds like, as if you're a viewer or on the other end of a Zoom call. Welcome into Zoom. Now, as you can see, this is just the main view. It's exactly the same as the view that we just had, just now that it's coming through Zoom. Okay, so just to test that, I'm just gonna now switch to the foot cam. As you can see, there's my foot. I'm gonna demo that by turning to the kit, and that's what it would look like. All right, so as you can see, this is the main view, and now I've got the foot cam. I did switch it because the other angle was covering my head, but there we go. So now if I do want to play, all I have to do is play. Easy as that. And then if I just want to head back to my main view, I can just do this, and it's my main view. And now finally, if I want to turn and I'm like, okay, what I just played, here's a notation, for example, I just go live here. As you can see, I'm nicely cropped in the corner, and I can just show my iPad there to my right. I can go, here's a zoom in thing, and I can write on it with the Apple Pencil, all that good fun stuff. And then when I'm done with that, I just go back to my main view, and it's all really, really nice and smooth. So as you can see, that works really well. I can single out different cameras, so if a student wants just the foot camera, I can do exactly that. I can write down whatever, I can show videos, and it's all capturing accordingly. So there is the full Zoom setup. And there we quite have it. That is now the fanciest of fancy views that I could personally think of with the equipment that I'm using. We're using multiple cameras, different software, nice sounding drum audio, and all round it's a jolly good time for everybody. So make sure you head back to parts 1 and 2 if you're new to this whole Zoom online streaming thing. And if this has been a great helpful to you, then I'm really, really glad. And remember, with all of this, by no means is this the right way to do things. This is just personally my way with the equipment that I had here in my studio. It's gonna change accordingly, but like I said, it's a nice place to start. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, different methods, please comment them down below. As always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for all of our shiny new videos, and I will see you in the next one.